Afoyo Matek, Anya Otim James, ati manager pa group Palufu, magiluwa ni Kweyo Growers Cooperative Society Limited. Kweyo uchake village magiluwa ni Kweyo mati yo koch ngao. Ichawa ni dong, headquarters maditi yo ngao, chok yo ngao center. Kweyo Growers, wan lufuwa tika berma pa paten yo koche ni, mawaripe fu, ichawa ni wafuru full, watiki store kama wagwaki ye full ka wafuru, watiki factory dong kama waregi yo di. So full chani mwaga mbot lufu, machines tie botwa, ma law full magolo, du odi, ma odi dong wacharo. Chi eno, wan chelo Kweyo, wa jolo lufu mukene kany, meri pay lokafu, pen tero tifu, Afoyo Matek.
Tell me more about Lufu. Dan Lufu ne unong Kweyo and
Okay.
Te do move ni.
Wan chelo Kweyo group ni chake chona, uchake wa mahali bachel mia bungwen ki piar bichelu ya boro. Mon uchakote group ni pien karechani. No dano nero mon chalo jo maperom kicho. Alors la me pien karechani no food pere. Ti guchako ripe fu. Kicharo jemi gika achel. Konyo gi loka chuluti ni school. Pi luen mo bero ko malo kany. Lumemba mapol go kato. Mkene maduongo bero i camps, IDP camps. Chi mahali bario yang wena bichi madano chao dugugang group doko chao repair. So lumemba mamwani tie lumemba mkene bero machon. Chi mkene gidonyo lumemba manyen. Pien jo mkene uigiponi lunyorogi ubero lufu ikweyo. Gin bena gimetingo giripe kilufu mkene. So ichani lumemba mamwa tie miangwen piara dakario. Magu poke zones mapapat. Tie zona chel tie Kweyo ma area magiluwa ni Amilobo. Eni kwako area weng me aki chuda me owai Kweyo. Zone kene ti Toji ma kwako endok Toji me bino yung ngako kany. Zone me adek ti Pidaloro kama wati ye ichani. Zone ma ngwen ti Lamina Wino. Inge Lamina ti Langwedo. Eni zone za bichel. Ki zone me agiki tie kama giluoni zonda ria mudonga chel tie utung pili tie chel tie bil nino. So lumemba mi angwen ki piara dakario ni gupoke almost marom I zones abero mapapate.
Ki kom lumemba matromo ali marom mi angwen kule. Unongo mimi.
Pole lumemba tiki ngoma megi. Kany icharo kany dano weng tiki ngom. Dano petika tiki ngom. Mwero ma grupu chako ripe kilufu. Mabera mini gi fony malupe kita giromo tiki ngom kere. Kita ki loko kodi. Mukene wak ngom pe ol. Guma bebene watiki tractors don ario. Makonyo wa ki yabu poro kilumemba. Kaindi la memba kany. Poro dong pe yabu ki ching. Yabu dong ki tractor. Tractor furi wela yor bod lumemba. Chi bene furu wako. Furu bo joma pe lumemba bene. Endo joma pe lumemba gi chulu dok wela tek lo lumemba. Mwe ako bero memba me group be. Pien inoni porono di furi wela yot. Chami bene gi wilo. Fony me fu bene tie. Extension wakatie mateki pere. Machere kin ping. Karwate ki lufu. Chabet ki chabet. Meneno ni gi furu fu. Yoma pore. Kwa cham kaki kwa nyiki poro. Bene gi tuwa yoma be. Mapia gi kelu isto bot wakany.
Pol karwange ni ka danam uripe dul komeno ngonyo bere tie nyo chuny marajo bere tiki chiek madoru anga chiek ne tie la wori mo aktima kaka pol chiek ni uchobo lo ni
group eni giti ite chiek pagamente me Uganda magiluoni the Cooperatives Act. Cooperatives Act yoni kwako kom je maduong malupe ki shareholding chalume group any la bole chalu group one cooperatives actually lumemba chela chel no mebe ki share chela chel meaning ngara chela chel tiki duon e cooperative paper ngara chel so in chala ngata itila member kan nenni tich ka tie kan ibinu tiu iripe ba ne ni jeme ma intika wachi ma megi ni bene ini bera roro kore so pole ka go gi mo time magwok meti gibet pingie ene gibero ping ento kany board tie dana bungwen malu member yero gine ka gwok lok motie dana bungwen bino gimoro chiek mokene malu kwako kong tichu kene mo timo kany ento board tie malu member yero giloko gi inge mwaka rio ento pe giloko gi onweng giloko dana ngwen chi magam inge mwaka rio giloko dok dana ngwen nyo beach mane mano pe giloko gi chonni we continuity betie peni dok ngara chel dong i bodong chake wachon chani watin we ako bene tam mukene manyen bini group ideas mukene berutie bene dano neno kita apoko metich bene romo berutie mo we ako group chalo cooperatives ma pepa ngara chel lu member ay doro ni we ako teach group beru yot pen ngara chel paro begin mamege so kalok motie pole dano mabini cooperatives gingeo ginatika kelo gi cooperatives guno ni charu jemi leje ni petiu kagripe ka chiel gingeo ni pero giti achiel mo kagi bino ka chiel cooperative chubo pero gi ni beru yot
fine nenu pia nyim kotiene your future plan
for you ichawani group u woro kabero mapapat bene romo meteo matek kai poro kita waberu kede makapa ngech kita wati kere chani rom ticho medeo makapa ngech na wape wakipiri wape wakichuma moe ken ichawa ni watiki piri maroma ngwen ario palufu ario makonyo ko tich pa tractor watiki chuma bene ario mebe to full magi ngweja kede yo so kala member tiki full e poro ngweja ki machine ki cheri poro ki bero e poro chigi dugu kanki kom full manyige machine bene tie me biranyogi mag bene giromo tero poro biranyogi kelo ko manyogi kan kawatimo ko meno bene chalo factory madit matie me rigodi mati chalo enkene Uganda kan machines tie me biro full me chelo full me koyo full tinyo pogani pimo kanyo nyoti ye regune ke coach wabene wati cold room tie ma wakoyo di ye mabe chi kita waneno kede romo ichani tila mal endo food romo mede nyim la bole mo chalo mo nyimgi ki mo full naratika jupone Uganda kan food ngo pere wono meti inge mara chela rio mo wache doingo ibiu mo bene bien peni dok full wen ki romo ti kede me odi warom biu ki mo ene bene waromo charwo chet me full le oni nyome nyimi waromo ti kede me yubo jemi chalo mogati gi nyo kadong rach itiu kede chalo chamale so expansion fite mapol wachung full enema wakwanyo ki factory wafonyo latichwa chel kany watia koro nongo machines me yubu maka ki chung fully dong lo member pedo kubera wilo maka pego bera tongo yen itiu en ki inagilwoni by products ki factory metedo yeah so expansion fite mapol mawara moti mokany afwan
down on how can people actually locate you?
Kweyo growers watie I Ongaro sub-county, mati I Toji county, I Omoro district. Kweyo kamwati ye chani, ti dogyo, signpost ye dogyo, manyoro ningo kany oigang pa Kweyo growers. Bene, we giromo na way Facebook, we also an email, is searching mere for Kweyo Growers Cooperative Society, when you're searching for Kweyo peanut butter. When you are really when Ramonoa. Number chimo benetie, my Romogoyo, men yang Jamaican matut malipaki fu, Yamalipaki process mamwani me odi, number tinche 0392 175501. Number chime mobile benetie 0776 843 626. Chukwa meodi I Uganda kany pole bene petiko malo kany ma bene eni very like about one ma watiko malo kany ni kai neno dano tika yubuje mabejo ko malo kany wabera konyo ko luwotwa ki wilu enje magi yubo yo mabe ento pole chukwa ichawani tie yung Kampala odiwa mokene bene chero Kenya, mukene chero South Sudan, watia ripeki jo moni magilwoni gi siatini watie mer neno yo me chwalo di wani woko ma waju woko ni atia waju Europe, atia waju Asia, atia waju America. Tien ichawani odi moma aki Uganda ma cheru woko peke wafuru ful mada ento ngata rego di ma pore me chwalo woko peke mo ma kweyo uchako neno yo me yubo di pe wachi wabe yubo di kita dano yubo di kai pino di ma wa yubo kan juini nyo di ma ino ichuk igulu kan ma wan wacharo pe pore kio di moni ma ngarimo mati woko tika penyo di expecting ni odi no bekere so kweyo guneno ni odi ma wa yubo ni mino biro di ma waromo charo on the international stage manyoro ni rwate ki jeme chalu leon full mino bed full ma be ma po top yo me regune bene wareki chuma ma pekero jeme chalu nyonyo pekero chilu yodi an bene packaging mo di mino bed packaging ma be arida be kangar mo neno di ni pore ki odi mo kene magoko aki America o aki Asia nyo aki Europe ana foi mate
Pekango mauno ki lokali
pero ma one chalo group me kweyo wano kan tie ye mapapat para chel tie chalo full ma wagamo ki bot le member cha mo kene full to chi mine wagam full ki woro ki bot dano ma pelo member me group full maduong inoni dano meti giket full ma potwo chi eoni bene wero full top mo wero kagi cerca pimo di inoni odi ni perwate me charne woro lumemba mo kene bene imeti full gi hotel kilo madit chi non gi keru je metata ye no e keru gweng no keru ta no keru kuyu ye ma pe belo tu malupe ki teach mo timo kanyi chale yo ngako kany pero madita ti match pere kany chi chawani watiti chi generator me regodi chi generator chamo mo kite won bene ngeyo walego ni momot bene kama chubino kany obi konyo wa medwo well expenses me regodi pero ma dek kita winyo waju cha money loka chuk jemi chalo anymore regu kumalo kany ya choli kany mino bedni chuk madit ti ya choli kany chi walego ni in kana ya choli nen jemi magi yubu kan chik ma UNBS wachi mino gi cho kama jemi chani mai tika wilone akiye kama gi yubu kiye beru ka kwano labels me odi me kich unen kama jemi ni akiye mino supporting the local market yeah so chalo enodi ma aki coach in kai chero choka wilo odi pedo ke wilo di ma aki China ni me aki UAE pien ki charo kanba yeah will jemi mango gi yubu kumalo kany pien eni we ngo lonyo area me kumalo kany teach ma chalo group me kweyo tika miyo ki vulu ma area kany tie matika konyo dano kany kadok chene oni watika chero tero chen pobidon area me kumalo. Thank you very much. My name is Otim James. I am the manager of Kweyo Growers Cooperative Society Limited. We are a relatively small cooperative society formed a long time ago in 1968 by an ambitious group of women, and we've been existent since then. There was a pause during the insurgency between the late 1980s up till the turn of the century, 2004-2005, when the cooperative was not in existence or wasn't functioning really, because of the fact that many of the members were in the IDP camps and this area was very unstable. Since 2005, when the cooperative started doing their work again, we've made a lot of strides forward. We've mobilized farmers again. We now have a group of about 432 farmers located in 7 different zones, all doing agriculture to support the activities of the cooperative, which, as I speak right now, is primarily centered around the value addition of groundnuts into peanut butter. So Kweyo today still maintains a history from the founding members in the 60s. We maintain the values, but most importantly, we are welcoming to new members and to farmers especially, because farming is actually the way forward. This is why we're here, and we're doing the work to support the farmers in the Koch Ongaro area, and also this will benefit the greater northern region. Thank you very much.
What's your future plans for these cooperatives? What do you aim at hitting?
Yeah. We've come a long way from growing cotton to now adding value to peanut butter, with peanut butter that's actually good enough for export. But we are not stopping here. We've come a long way. We've worked very hard to come where we are, to be where we are right now. But we believe we have to work even harder to maintain the quality that we have, but also to improve on it. So some of the ways we can improve on our activities is actually making sure we utilize everything in our process. The groundnut shells, for example, we can turn them into charcoal briquettes. The groundnuts that we sort out that we don't use for peanut butter, we can use that for pressing oil. We also look into add equipment to enable us to process sesame. So we can be making oil from groundnuts and also oil from sesame, which will mean that we can also have an extra line of products as opposed to the peanut butter, which I believe will again create more jobs, create more markets for the farmers in the area, and actually square the circle insofar as farmers knowing when they grow their products, there's a ready market for it at Kweyo Growers.
What's your projection? You're aiming at feeding the local market, or selling your product exactly where, and where are your networks?
Yes. At the moment, our product is UNBS Q marked, or the distinctive mark, meaning we can sell it in the East African region. We're looking first to consolidate our market in Uganda. We're looking to stock outlets in Gulu and in Kampala. Clearly the central business district in Kampala is where the greatest market is. But we're also doing a lot of sensitization and encouraging people in the northern region to embrace products that are produced in the north. We believe once we've done this, in the next year or so, we should be able to start looking to export our product. Our products are very well managed insofar as the agricultural side, with the extension workers ensuring that the farmers follow the right agricultural practices. When we harvest and we store and we process, we are using the best practices when it comes to post-harvest handling, and also when it comes to processing for our peanut butter, we use food-grade stainless steel equipment, meaning that our product is actually superior to most peanut butter products in the East African region. And from the test results we've got from UNBS, it means the results we've got are good enough to export to America and to Europe and even to Asia, because the levels of aflatoxins, which are a big factor, are second to none, are actually zero for us. There is no trace of E. coli, which is actually very, very bad in food. And also yeasts and molds are almost non-existent because of the process that we follow to get our product where we are.
Did we talk about the future plans?
Yes, challenges.
Okay, how can you be reached? How can people get in touch with you?
Sure.
Later, your channel.
Sure. Kweyo are available to reach on phone and on email, and for the people on social media as well. We're on social media on Facebook. So you can search for Kweyo Growers Cooperative Society Limited, or you can search for Kweyo Peanut Butter, which is our registered brand for the peanut butter product that we do. You can also call us on the phone. We've got two main lines. First line is 03921 75501, and the other line is 0776 843 626. We are located in Koch Ongaro, so we're on the main road from Gulu going to Arua, about 11 kilometers from Gulu town, from Gulu city. On the right hand side of the road, there's a signpost for Kweyo Growers, and you can't miss it. There are two big stores with red roofs, and we are there 24/7. Thank you very much.
Challenges?
Our challenges vary. We've got challenges on the agricultural side, because sometimes when we don't have enough groundnuts from our members, we have to purchase groundnuts from non-members. And one of the biggest challenges, farmers actually adulterating their grain. So you find them bagging groundnuts that are not dry. And also you find them putting things that should not be in the bags, sticks, stones, to increase the weight of the bags. The challenges that we have insofar as the processing is concerned is that at the moment we have equipment that uses 3-phase power, and we are running it on generator. We hope through the rural electrification project that the government is doing, they can expedite the installation of power to a place like ours, being an industry, so that we can actually continue supporting the infrastructure that we're doing here already. So creating jobs for people, ensuring that the community has got a market for their products, and also a one-stop shop for farmers. If you need any assistance with regards to agro inputs, Quail Growers is here. If you need assistance from an extension worker, Quail Growers is extension workers. If you need assistance from anything to do with post-harvest handling, we can give advice. We give free advice to farmers, and most importantly as well, we have tractor hire services. So if you want to open up any land, the tractors are here to do the work in the Kochongawa area. Thank you very much. So health and safety is very important to us. And when we enter in the factory, certainly when we're processing, we have to make sure we are almost fully clothed. We would usually have to put on gumboots, but because we are not processing today, we're putting on these open shoes. And we usually put on the face masks. So this is not actually as a result of COVID, it's actually something that we were doing before. Because with the process of peanut butter, we don't want anything to get into the product. So I won't put this on right now. I'm putting on a white lab coat, although we'll start in an area which is really for the blue lab coats. Because the blue lab coats are for the shelling and the sorting area, and the white lab coats are for the processing area. So if you wear the white lab coat, you shouldn't really go in there. But wash our hands. Dry your hands. And then the last step would be to just sanitize. Yeah, this is something we were doing even before the whole pandemic, but this is cleanliness at its best for food products. So this is where, before you go in, even if you're going to the sorting room, you're going to the processing area, this is the procedure you have to follow. We have you come here, you'd wash your hands clean with the water that we have in the tap and soap, which we have in our dispenser here. We'd use the hand towels here to dry our hands, and these are not reusable towels, these are single-use towels. So you clean your hands, throw them in the bin, and then you sanitize your hands. This is actually, we're using ethanol. This removes any traces of germs on your hands, meaning when you go into the processing area and you're handling food, you're actually fit enough to handle food. In addition, all the members of staff who enter the factory at any point have to have medical health certificates from the district health officer. In our case, Omoro District Health Officer, where they would have been tested for things like typhoid, tuberculosis, ensuring they don't have a cough or a running nose. This is just to ensure that we keep the food products as safe as possible by ensuring that cleanliness of our staff is at the utmost and also the health of our staff is at the utmost, which is why we have this first room here. So at this point I should have my mask on, but just for the demonstration I will not have the mask on. So this is our processing area. On the right hand side, on my right hand side here, is the shelling and the sorting area. Thank you very much. So should I show you this part first? So I'm wearing blue for this particular area, and the process actually would start in that room there, which is our shelling room. Usually people wearing the blue outfits would be working in this room here. These doors would usually be locked to essentially stop contamination from the shelling room coming into the sorting room. The shelling room is where groundnuts from our stores actually get brought in and are shelled. The shelling is actually removing the covers. So you're turning it from groundnuts into peanuts by cracking the shells open and revealing the peanuts that will be used for processing. So this is our shelling room. It has some equipment in there, which is actually very key in the whole peanut butter production process.
I better cook good morning again. Okay, I better cook good morning again.
Yeah, So this is our shelling room. We have the groundnuts coming in from our stores through this door here, not through the door that we came in from. That is for people, this is for products. So the groundnuts will come in here, and the first thing that will be done will be to weigh the groundnuts and check the moisture content, just the dryness of the groundnuts, before we load them into this equipment here. So we'll bring the groundnuts here, we weigh them, we check for the moisture content, and then we'll load them into this equipment here. This is a destoner. It's actually a very key part in our production process, because as I say, groundnuts are from the field, so you could have some soil, you could have some sticks, you'd have some residue. If they're not picked up in the inspection during the checking into the stores, this is equipment to ensure that we can pick out anything else that's not supposed to be groundnuts. So this would vibrate and it would separate sticks and stones from actual groundnuts that are in the pods. The groundnuts will then flow into a blower, which is down here. The blower would actually just blow the pods of groundnuts through this pipe we've connected here into the shell. The reason why we do this is just in case this machine hasn't separated everything. The blower will only blow the pods that have the groundnuts in them. If there's any groundnuts that was falling out of the pods, it means it could be susceptible to contamination during storage or during transport, so we don't get that into our process. So all the groundnuts that come into the sheller are groundnuts that are whole in the pods. Right? That's the first stage. And that's where probably many peanut butters in Uganda fail, because they don't separate this in the first stage. So this is a room just to remove the covers, but we have extra steps to ensure that we get the right quality of grain. And in every stage, quality is key. Process? Yeah, so the groundnuts will be coming out of here, and we'll transfer them from here, once the shelling is complete, right into the sorting room. So the shelling room will transfer the groundnuts into the sorting room, and this is where we'd actually sort manually. So every piece of grain would actually be inspected by people who are trained to sort, and what they're looking for in the sorting is to ensure that the grain that is a bit shriveled, the grain that may be infested by any weevils that could attack the groundnuts, the grains that are badly cracked or discolored, and most importantly, the grains that have the dark patches are removed, because these are the grains that are not good enough for paste, and they'll change the taste of the peanut butter. So this is the sorting room.
We're in the process of procuring a color sorter, which will make the sorting process a lot faster. Because at the moment, it takes us about a day and a half to sort through 500 kilos, whereas a color sorter will do that work in an hour. So we're looking to procure a color sorter to install it into this room here, which will mean that our process is a lot faster and arguably a bit more accurate. This is good grain. This one is grain that we separate, which can still be used for things like binyewa. Can be used for binyewa, can be used for animal feeds, it can even be pressed as oil. If you want to grind this in your peanut butter, like at home locally, that is fine. But for what we're doing here, ensuring the high levels of quality, this we separate. We don't throw it away, but we separate it. The ones we really have to get rid of and throw away are these ones that have the dark colors on them, the really dark patches. Those are the ones that are high in aflatoxins. And the standard for Uganda are 14 parts per billion, which means if you have 1 billion grains, you cannot have more than 14 of these grain in that bag of 1 billion grain. That is why it's important we sort it out to ensure we get the really good quality of granules to take to our main processing area. So this will be the sorting area where they remove everything, and once the sorting is done, the staff who are sorting will then exit the premises, sanitize as they go out, and then the staff for the processing will come in. That is where we're going next. So this is our main processing area. This is where we convert the grain into peanut butter. I'll remove this because we're not processing right now, just so you can hear me a lot clearer. And once we get our grain from the sorting room, we would come and load it into our roaster. The roaster is essentially just the equivalent of the frying of the groundnuts, so this does it for us. We have a roaster here with a capacity of...
Here we go.
Yeah. So this is our roaster. We usually roast 300 kilos per hour in here, as I say. Each chamber, there are 3 chambers. This can roast 100 kilos each. Before we roast, we check the moisture content for the grain again, which allows us to know the roasting temperature and the roasting time. So when we load this, after a few minutes, coming up to an hour, we can then offload. These are currently open, but when roasting it will be closed. We'll offload and we'll pour into this conveyor. This conveyor will lift the grain from the roaster out into this chamber here, which is part of the cooling system. So the grain in here, because it's very hot to handle, we can't take it and pour it in there. This machine does that for us. This equipment here I'm standing next to, which is about maybe 4.5 meters tall, long, is our cooling system. This is where we cool our groundnuts. So when they come out of the roaster, they're usually quite hot, too hot to handle actually, as you can imagine. And the cooling system, using a conveyor system and fans, they extract the heat from the groundnuts up to the point they come to the end of the conveyor. After the conveyor, we have certain pieces of equipment right there. We have the peeler, which removes the peels from the groundnuts. So essentially, this would be the roasted grain, which will be roasted out of the roaster. After cooling, it will go through the peeler, which will then remove the red or the white covers depending on the grain that we're processing. And then it will also break the grain to remove the pip, which changes the taste of the peanut butter. So that's extracted and put into this extruder here, which is then collected and poured away. One of the most important parts of our process is the metal detector. So coming out of the peeling machine, the grain all goes through the metal detector, which automatically sorts out any section of grain that could have any metals. All this equipment here is metallic, so just to check again, ensuring quality through every stage of our process, the metal detector is automatic, so it can detect using the detector here, and then it can separate using the compressor. It will separate this and then continue sending the good grain along. And once we go through this process, we now have grain that has been roasted and has been peeled. We then do a second sorting just in case some grain was not roasted properly or was overcooked. It's separated during the second sorting before we go to grind.
Say it, okay?
Yeah.
You know, Mali?
So we usually cover our grinders just to ensure that we don't get any contamination into them. These are high-speed grinders that can grind up to 700 kilos per hour. And most importantly, there is no metal-to-metal contact between the grinding equipment. So when we process our peanut butter, you know you're getting equipment that is, you're getting peanut butter made by equipment that is not inducing any heat, and it's also not inducing any metals into the process. From that grinding process, the rest of the process is almost automated. There are pumps that transfer the paste from the grinder into the mixing tank, which is what we have here.
Into there?
Yeah. So we have the mixing tank. Because of cleaning, we actually disconnect all the cables. That's why we have cables on the ground, so don't worry about that. But the paste will come into the mixing tank through this opening here, and it will be mixed in where we can add in some ingredients like salt, for example, which people like to taste in peanut butter. This is where we add it into our process. And the mixer, we can affect the temperature, and we can also affect the speed of the mixing. After this, we'll transfer into a storage tank, which is this again. Again, as you can notice, food grade stainless steel equipment. The storage tank will also have the capacity of mixing the paste while reducing the temperature to a temperature suitable for packing. And once this is complete, we'll then come through to our packing machine, which again, paste comes in through here. We set the volume, and to check, we have a scale just under the packing machine. So we set the volume, whether we're packing 250 grams or 430 grams. We would set it on this equipment, and then we would pack using the foot pedal, or there's an automated system which can pack, and we put the jars, the lids ourselves. So at this point, we have paste that has been processed and packed, and the next thing we do is we cool it down to a temperature that is suitable to be put in a box, or suitable to be put on your shelf, or suitable for you to eat. You don't want to be eating hot paste. You want to be eating paste that's at room temperature. Thank you. So actually, once we go through our packing machine and we've cooled down the paste, then we can affix the labels on the paste to distinguish the two types of peanut butters that we have. We have the crunchy, which has got some small bits of groundnut inside, and then we have the smooth, which is very, very fine, which most people are used to. So at this point, we'll then put the labels on the jars and then put them in the boxes. This is a box that is for the 250 gram jars, which are these small jars, and this can take 50 pieces. And this box under here is for the 750 gram jar, which can take 24 pieces. So once we get an order, we can then now pack into the boxes, tape it up, and send it to where the customer wants the paste. One of the biggest problems we have with peanut butter is that there's a lot of separation between oil and the paste after a few days. So actually the work that we're doing here is trying to reduce that, that impact. So rather than it happening after a few days, we want it to happen after 6 months or after 8 months, which is why the cold room is key. We've built this cold room ourselves. It's not yet complete, but it's still in the process. But we already can cool, the cold room temperature can go as low as -17. I won't go into the specifics as to how we cool our peanut butter, because that is where our market edge is.